Hello everyone, welcome on in. It's Betting Weekly Game Bet Match. It's the number one tennis betting podcast and YouTube show brought to you in association with Bet Rivers, your hometown sportsbook. I am Nigel Seeley. We've reached the third round at the French Open, the second major of 2025. Before I introduce you to Sean Calvert, our senior ATP Tour handicapper, please hit the subscribe button. Lots of you enjoying us this show, lots of you subscribing. Ring that bell, let you be notified every time any content drops. Give us a like and also give us a comment in the box below. If there's any bet you like, or anything you disagree with us, anything you agree with us, please let us know your thoughts. Good afternoon, Sean. Good morning, Sean.
Yes, good morning. It is quite early, isn't it, today? You all right? You good?
I felt better. I felt worse. I went to the Premier League darts last night at the O2, watched Luke Humphreys beat Luke Littler in the final of the darts. A real good night. And now I'm just sort of doing this before I head to... contemplating whether I should go to Munich for the Champions League final.
Well, the darts is a good night, isn't it? I've not been for years. I remember I used to go up to Blackpool when I lived back home in Staffordshire. We used to go up to Blackpool for the World Match Play in the days of Phil Taylor. I remember seeing Cliff Lazarenko there one year tripping over the TV wires. That was quite a tumble, as you can probably imagine.
Cool. That would have caught something on the Richter scale, I thought.
Yeah, he was a big lad. Yeah, darts is great. Obviously, Munich. Not been there since 2006 World Cup, but yeah, it should be good fun. On the other hand, I've got half term. I've got to take Leg into the skate park with one of his little mates, and then I've got ongoing problems with this car. So yeah, you're enjoying life a bit more than me, I think.
Well, I saw the car. If you haven't seen the car on X, have a look at the car. Sean posted the car. It's a very plastered around. We know who provides the car for you, Sean. It's not like
You wouldn't think they want to advertise it, would you? It was quite funny when Lagan opened the back door and a load of water came pouring out. It was like something off Home Alone or something. He just opened the back door. I was like, where's that water come from? Yeah, I've got that for about at least 2 weeks because this clutch is a big job and they've got to find time to fit it in. It takes like most of the day to put this new clutch in. So, I'm going to have this old banger for several weeks. So, yeah, interesting.
Formula One races, they put a clutch in about 30 seconds. How can I do a clutch in 3 days? I don't understand. Anyway, the clutch was paid.
Who clutching?
What do they do when they do the pit stops? Change the tyres, put the clutch. They must be able to do that quick, surely. I
don't think so.
Quicker
not in a Nissan Qashqai.
Oh, well, okay. That might be different. We thought the clutch was being paid for with, it was halfway paid for with Fucsovic winning the first set. Yesterday, Arnaldi didn't pay for the rest of the repairs. It was a bit of a bad day for us. Bad, wasn't he?
Well, I mean, out of the 4 matches, if you'd have bet all 4 bets and leans, you would have made a profit. But, sometimes you choose the wrong one. And not that was particularly the wrong bet. I still think it was the right bet. But Arnaldi was dreadful. It's particularly on serve. The advantage he has over Cobolli, he's got slightly bigger serve. And he didn't get over 44%, I think it was, first serves in till about the back end of the third set, at which point the game was done and dusted. He did manage to sneak the third set against the run of play, and then you thought, well, maybe the fatigue will kick in for Cobolli, but Arnaldi was bad, very bad. But what can you do?
We bounce back today. We've got 3 matches to look ahead for Saturday. Action at Roland-Garros in the men's singles third round, and we're going to start off with an all-British affair between Cam Norrie and Jacob Fearnley. Jacob Fearnley is a player that is moving up in the world rankings. Cam Norrie we thought was coming to the end of his career, was moving down the rankings, but he's had a bit of a decent run in recent weeks. Done really well to reach the third round here in the French Open. Got to the semi-finals in Geneva where he ran Djokovic very, very close. And this match is a virtual pick and match. Fearnley is -121 with Bet Rivers. -103 for Cam Norrie. Spread is 1.5. Total is 39.5. They've never met each other before, the pair of them. But 2 Brits playing well. And we're guaranteed a Brit into the 4th round. Which one's going to be, though, Sean?
I like the price on Norrie. I really do. He was actually slightly bigger when I wrote this. Not even an hour and a half ago, whatever. He was slight plus money, plus 202. But I do like the price on this. I mean, he's been in, as you said, he's been in great form the past 10 days, and he knows how to make a match physical. We've seen over the last couple of days, haven't we, that the physicality is so important here. That's one of the reasons it makes it so hard to bet, because a lot of the matches are won on endurance and physicality and on the day who's got the energy. I mean, if you look at yesterday, you had Alex de Minaur lost from 1.01, Mensik lost from 1.01, Fils probably should have lost from 1.04 because they'd all won the first 2 sets, but they didn't have the endurance, the stamina, whatever. I mean, particularly de Minaur. That just shows you how these tennis players are struggling at the minute with they just play far too much tennis. Someone like de Minaur, who's so fit, said, I'm just mentally drained more than sort of physically drained, because of all the tennis. That's for me one of the reasons that what makes the French Open so hard to bet on, because your player you could have called it right, you could have got everything right with the matchup and all the rest of it. 2 sets up and his legs go. You can't legislate for that, really. That's difficult. But this is a match where I think Norrie is going to make it so physical. And he's just annoying. I mean, I've got to be honest, I cannot stand watching Cam Norrie play tennis. It's so boring for me personally, just because of the way he plays. It's just grinding tennis. It's smart tennis. It's earned him a fabulous career from a sort of, let's be honest, a mediocre talent. But he does what he does very, very well. And I think he's going to grind Fearnley down here, or certainly has a good chance of doing so. He did it to Popyrin in Geneva in typical style last week. Popyrin, similar-ish type of player to Fearnley, even bigger serve, you would suggest. Popyrin started out great. Norrie just ended up wearing him down, make him play that one more ball on the backhand that he doesn't want to do. And then, as you said, he wasn't far away at all against Novak Djokovic. I think he said after the Medvedev match that gave him the confidence to beat what was his nemesis in Medvedev, because Medvedev's a horrible matchup for Norrie, because Norrie does like sort of diverting the pace that comes at him, and Medvedev doesn't really give him anything. And Medvedev is a similar type of player to Norrie, just makes so many balls. And he beat him. He beat his nemesis, and he's absolutely buzzing now. He's going to know Jacob Fearnley very, very well from the British scene, from the Davis Cup scene. He'll know how to deal with Fearnley. We know the danger is on the forehand side. He's going to absolutely pepper that backhand, you would think. This is Cam Norrie all over. And vastly more experienced in best of 5 tennis. Fearnley has never played a match in his life that's gone beyond 4 sets. I just feel like if he is going to win this, Fearnley, he's going to have to knock him off pretty quick, in which case he's going to have to play an extremely clean match, which is a kind of a tall order. There's very little in it on their last 10 main level matches on clay. Norrie 70% win rate, service points won and return points won, total of 101.7. Fearnley 60% win rate, 102.6, slight advantage to Fearnley, which would equate to the odds that you've got there. But Fearnley's only winning 46% on his second serve. The first serve is doing the heavy lifting for him, 74% of those points won. So, this is the French Open. We'll talk about the weather briefly as well. I think it's going to turn a bit Saturday. Thunder showers are forecast pretty much all day. It's still going to be quite warm, but there's supposed to be, a fair bit of rain, sort of thunderstorms. If it hits the Roland-Garros area, then obviously play will be suspended, which wouldn't favour Fearnley, you wouldn't have thought. But, the French Open is the French Open. Victory goes to the most tenacious, as we've said many times, and that is Cam Norrie all over. He's about as tenacious as he can possibly get. He's finding form at the right time. He's going to make this really awkward for Jacob Fearnley and give his backhand a massive test over 5 sets. So I think this is, for me, the value of the day. It's not easy to find value at the French Open, but Cam Norrie's slight dog here will be my play.
Yeah, Cam Norrie minus 103 at Bet Rivers. 40 different markets on this all British affair. And remember, if you go and download the Bet Rivers app, you'll be able to watch this match live streamed on the mobile device or your tablet or your laptop. So Cam Norrie, our first official play at minus 103 underdog. I got a feeling he might actually start favourite for this match. I think the money might continue to come for him, and he will probably be a decent bet there if you want to take the minus 103. The order of play is out a little bit later on, but remember it starts at 5 a.m. Eastern time, so a nice early start tomorrow. We don't know exactly what time this match will be on court, but the best advice for me will be to get on now. Get those bets on now, because that price will probably move. Next match, Andrey Rublev against Rublev-Fils. If you look at the head-to-head between the two of them, 1 win apiece. If you look at the world ranking, there's only 1 spot separating the two. But on the odds, it's a very, very heavy favourite for Andrey Rublev, minus 175 to Rublev-Fils is plus 138. Spread is 2.5 and total here is 39.5. Now, if this match was played on normal circumstances, I would suggest that the odds would be the other way. But the fact that Rublev-Fils barely could walk after his 5-set win last time out over Joao suggests that this may be a little bit of advantage to Andrey Rublev, who has won his match in very straightforward, 3-0 win over the Aussie Walton. There has been money for Artur Fils here. And I suppose it's one of those question marks. You've got to think to yourself, do you take the plus 138 on what you've seen on the year so far? Or do you base it all on what we saw over a course of 4.5 hours in the round previous?
Well, the layers are going on the latter, aren't they?
Yeah.
They're saying that Fils is done. He's not going to win this match, which may or may not be true. I did say it at the start of this tournament when we talked about the outrights. I did say that my concern with Artur Fils is the physical side of it. He does have that long-standing back issue that he's talked about a lot. I mean, he cramped very early on against Munar. It's always a difficult test against Munar. He gives you absolutely nothing. Munar should have won that match. There's no doubt about it, because Fils was physically done some point during the third set, I would say. The fourth set, he didn't even compete. The fifth set, Munar should have won it, but that's Munar all over, isn't it? If it gets tight right at the death, you don't want to be betting Munar. He's much more likely to lose it than win it. So the question is Artur Fils fit? I wouldn't bet him on the money line just because that is a massive concern, that the fitness. But he has had 2 days to recover. We don't know the order of play. I should imagine this will probably... This
could be a night match, couldn't it?
It could be, yeah, in which case he will have had much, much longer to sort of rest and recover. Cramps, yeah, it's an issue. It's recoverable, though, isn't it, in a couple of days, 2.5 days. If it's the back issue, or if there's something else as well, that's more of a concern. So we're guessing a little bit, but he's not gonna. My angle of attack here, if you're betting on this game, is the first set. You're getting, for me, a price on Fils winning the first set that is potentially bigger than it should be. He's not gonna turn up here and play a couple of games and retire. You wouldn't have thought. We saw Humbert, unfortunately, have to retire after a real bad injury on his ankle yesterday. Fils isn't, unless he's absolutely crocked. I mean, he did look at his camp a few times and sort of said, shall I call this quits against Munar? But he didn't. He hung in there and he got the win. So he's going to be going all out here. He's got to win that first set, hasn't he? If he's got any hope of winning this match, you would think, given the circumstances. And when they played in Monte Carlo in very similar conditions, a few weeks ago, I can't remember whether you were there or not, Nigel. You might have been.
No, I wasn't there this game. No, I think I'd left by then.
Oh, okay. You were at the tournament, though, weren't you?
I was at the tournament, yeah. I mean, the one thing about Fils, sorry, he's such a battler. He's so fit, and in the idea of this sort of adversity, actually is a kind of player that will actually thrive on it.
Yeah,
he'll be pumped up on it, and obviously if his body can't cope, he can't cope. But the way he won the title, where did he get to the title? When did he get to the title last year? And he won every game in
Tokyo, I think it was.
Yeah, he won every match in a third set battle, and he just sort of thrived on this situation. So I think the price, and I think your angle of attack here, first set, is such the right way to go, because the price of plus 138 on Artur Fils, whichever way you look at it, is the wrong price. He should be minus 150 on the form. We know he's plus 138 because the fact that he might not be able to make the whole duration of the game. So the first set angle is just absolutely perfect in the way to approach this match.
Yeah, I think that's the only way you can do it, because whatever way you look at this, we are guessing. Not just with Fils, but with Rublev a little bit as well, because his form has improved recently. Is this collaboration he's had with Safin or whatever, he's talking about hitting the backhand better, which is something he obviously needs to do, but he really hasn't been tested much. Just looking at the matches that he's played, Zuma, Engel, Darderi, Felix was poor when he played him, lost to Cobolli. I mean, Lloyd Harris and Adam Walton would not consider themselves clay quarters. I don't think you can really read anything into that. But the head-to-head, as you say, the Monte Carlo match, 124-76 that day in terms of service points won and return points won totals to Artur Fils. Rublev only won 29% of his second serve points. Was broken in 59% of his service games. He doesn't get any more one-sided than that. If just throw in some stats as well, I'm not sure it's massively relevant because the condition of the players, the fitness. But look at the last 10 matches versus the current top 20 on all surfaces. Rublev just a 20% win rate, service points won and return points won total 98.6. Artur Fils 60% win rate and 100.5. So on the recent matchup, on the the general level against the best players in the world, you would fancy Artur-Fils. The obvious issue is fitness. So I believe it was plus 116, 2.16 about Fils winning the first set. If you're betting in this match, I think that's probably the way to go.
That is a really good angle. I thought the plus 138 Fils is probably a little bit of a big price because I can see Rublev losing his rag, not being able to beat an injured opponent, getting very, very agitated himself. But I think the idea of going that first set, because obviously if it goes deep, Fils may not have the legs, is a great angle. So plus 116 with Bet Rivers. There's 40 different markets available on this match. Rublev-Fils is only the third round of 40 different markets available on all these matches. Incredible offering at the French Open from our friends at Bet Rivers. Our final match we're going to discuss is Alexander Zverev. He's up against Flavio Cobolli. I haven't been impressed with Alexander Zverev. Making a lot of unforced errors, making it a little bit more difficult on himself, getting the job done, but not as easy as the scorelines would suggest. He's minus $5 to beat Flavio Cobolli, who's probably the informed man in the tennis world at the moment, on the back of a win in Geneva and obviously Munich, sorry, and obviously was it Hamburg? Sorry, I've got Munich on the brain. Winning Hamburg, and he's plus 360 to win here. 5.5 is the spread. Total 36.5, which looks a little bit cheap over his minus 120. And if you look at the record, that Flavio Cobolli is up to number 25 in the world, his new career high currently at the moment, and rising if he can win this match here. Zverev, still undecided about him, not sure about him at all, but he's a minus $5 favourite with Bet Rivers to win this match.
Yeah, I think he'll win it. I've just got some interesting talk about the conditions, actually. This is another problem that I regularly face with players. It involves Zverev totally disagreeing about conditions. He played on the Simon Mathieu court, I think it was yesterday, and he said, the ball bounces higher, but this court is, in any case, slower than Chatrier and Suzanne Lenglen. Now, the women's player, Magdalena Fresh, is it? Freck, okay, she played on the exact same court and said, these courts are completely different. You can't even compare them. It's not about what's going on around you, the stands, etc. It's just that Simon Mathieu itself is a faster court, much less clay. So there you go. Two players playing on exactly the same court. One of them says it's much slower, and the other one says it's a lot faster. So there you go. That's where we're at with this job. This is what happens. You can't even trust the players to get it right. One of them, it's ridiculous. Anyway, Zverev, who thinks that court, if he is playing on it, is slow. If it is that court, that would favour Cobolli for me. He does need a slower court. He doesn't seem to have hit a physical wall yet, Cobolli, but he might well do in this match. He's been playing some great tennis. Hopefully some people would have profited from the 25-1 that we mentioned on this show about him winning Hamburg. Can he keep it up is one question. Is his game effective against the very best is another question. I'm not so sure that it is. His serve is the weakness. He's admitted that himself. His serve is not great. It doesn't generate many free points like Zverev's does. If we look at what he's done against top 5 opponents in his career, he's 0-10 in sets, and with a service points won and return points won, total of 80. He's actually only held serve 49% of the time in those matches. If we go slightly bigger against top 10 opponents in completed matches, he's 0-8 win-loss. So for me, he's obviously a very, very good player up to a certain level, but I just don't think he's got that extra that you need to beat these guys, unless Zverev has one of his absolute shockers, which is quite possible from him. If we look at the last 10 main level matches on clay, Cobolli 80% win rate and a total of 106. Very good. Zverev, still very, very, very good stats from Zverev. 70% win rate and 110 total. So the level he's playing is above what Cobolli's playing, and that this is absolute peak Cobolli. Is it peak Zverev? Probably not, but there's probably more in the tank. I just feel like this is one of those ones where Cobolli's, given his physical state, he's played so much tennis. I'm very surprised. I'd hoped that when Arnaldi won the third set that we'd see, Arnaldi taking over with the more energy, the less sort of fatigue, but that wasn't the case. But it's got to strike him at some point. He's got to win one of the opening 2 sets, I would suggest, Cobolli here. Combined with the fact that Zverev is a very good returner, I just think Cobolli's going to struggle to hold serve often enough. I would suggest under 36.5 total games is probably the way to go here. It's always a bit shaky when you're betting Zverev at minus 500. You're never particularly confident, but I just feel this is a match that is very, very winnable for Zverev, and he should be getting it done in less than those games, I would suggest.
Under 36.5 games is the lean from Sean at minus 107. They're the three matches we have discussed. We've got, is it just the one official play? We're going for two official plays.
Are you going to try and talk me into Rublev-Fils?
I'm not going to try to. Every time I've tried to talk you into anything, it's always gone wrong. So I'm not going to say nothing. It's entirely up to you. What do you want to do?
I mean, the official play is Norrie.
Right.
But obviously, if you want to take a chance on Fils, you are taking a chance on fitness. There's a little bit of guesswork involved there, but obviously it's going to have to go down as a lean, I think. But it'll probably win out. I've said that.
Yeah, minus 103. Cam Norrie, our official play. I head across to the BetRivers website early because I think that price will move very quickly. I expect him to be favourite for that match. Sean's analysis and the breakdown of it says it's going to be a long slog, which will which will suit Norrie, a bore fest. That's the pretty much way you're going to have there. There's some other matches, really good matches as well in action tomorrow. Jannik Sinner against Sinner-Lehecka. Alexander Bublik, minus 286 to rate the last 16. Don't want to be an early start for him. He was 2 sets to love down against Rocha. Both of them will be running empty. Any slight thoughts of any other matches or just?
Yeah, I can just quickly run through all of them actually. Sinner against Lehecka. I mean, it doesn't look a great matchup for Lehecka. It's not a great matchup for anybody really against Jannik Sinner these days. But the head-to-head, I think they've only played on hard courts, maybe one on clay. I'm not so sure. But the head-to-head is 113 to 87 in service points won and return points won totals to Jannik Sinner. Lehecka's only winning 40% of his second serve points. And he's actually only held serve 65% of the time against Sinner. Sinner held 93% of the time. I just wonder with Lehecka, against the very, very best, whether he's just going to run out of ideas pretty quickly when he realises his big game isn't quite as big as the Jannik Sinners of this world. I can't see any. Maybe a 3-1 to Sinner there. Maybe Lehecka can win a set. That wouldn't surprise me. Not feeling an upset there, unless Sinner has one of his regular physical meltdowns. Not seeing an upset there. Draper against Fonseca is an interesting one as well, isn't it?
Interests me. I'm quite tempted by the price of Fonseca here. I'm surprised the money is coming. BetRivers are plus 190 for Fonseca. I quite like that.
I think it's just a couple of factors. Just the lack of experience with Fonseca at this 5-set level. The problem with Fonseca is, we bet him to win Rome. He lost in the first round to Marijan. He was awful. He's very up and down, as you would probably expect of a player that age. He turned it on. If he plays like he did against Hurkacz, then this could be interesting. If he plays like he did against the Bear, or probably more pertinently Marijan, or any of the other bad losses that he's had recently on clay, then you would expect Draper to win it pretty comfortably. I mean, Draper won it easily in slow conditions in Indian Wells, 114 to 86. I think the service points won and return points won totals were there. I just think someone like a lefty like Draper, an attacking lefty, a powerful lefty, he can just make Fonseca play too many balls on the backhand. Fonseca really did run out of ideas when he played Draper at Indian Wells, and he ended up getting bageled in the second set. I just think where Draper is at the minute, where he's at, the confidence, the fitness, the general level, the general demeanour that he has, I think it'll be an entertaining match, but I think Draper will come out on top. I'm slightly tempted with Draper minus 3.5 over the course of a long match at plus 107. You never know with Fonseca, though. That's why I haven't put this match down. Fonseca could come out and play one of his absolute worldy matches and maybe get the win. But yeah, I would suggest the odds would favour a Draper win there.
He's up to number 4 in the world now, Jack Draper. Incredible rise, really.
So these are the matches he should be. I know clay's not his favoured surface, but he won Indian Wells. He's won. He's done a lot on clay. This clay court swing. Should have won. Was it Madrid that he lost to Rude? I think in the final. Should have won that there. I know it's altitude, different conditions, but he's getting a lot more experienced on the clay. Some of these matches are, as you would say, come with a public wealth warning. Some of these Bublik against Rocha, that's a hard pass for me. I mean, I've looked into the stats of Rocha. He's come from nowhere, 2 sets and a breakdown against Mensik. He's managed to wear him down, but played an awful lot of tennis. His stats, Rocha, even at challenger level, aren't that great. I think he's got like a 50% win rate and a service points won and return points won total of about 99.5 or something. Not inspiring stats, but he's playing well at the minute. I mean, how could you bet this?
He's had back-to-back 5 sets, though, hasn't he?
He has.
He's had back-to-back 5-set matches.
Basilashvili, I think he played, didn't he? And then obviously that comeback. How do you know with Sasha Bublik? He said after the de Minaur match that he didn't wake up for the first 2 sets, which is something we've talked about a lot.
Yeah.
You know, it was a 10 a.m. start, I think, wasn't it? Or 11. 10 a.m., I think it was.
Yeah.
And he said, I sort of didn't wake up for the first 2 sets. So how do we know? But if this is on at 10 a.m. again, it might be interesting to back Rocha to win the first set. But he started his matches pretty slowly as well. So that's a hard pass for me. I think the last one is another difficult one, again, because of physicality. Griekspoor against Ethan Quinn. Quinn coming off another epic 4 hours and 14 minutes against Andrey Shevchenko. Griekspoor's not playing that well. You know, I said the other day he split up with his 2 coaches that he's had this season. He was smashing his rackets again yesterday against Diallo. The set 1 overs did come in that match, just about. I think it's 7-5. If you bet that, it's the same price, 2.8 in this match, set 1 overs, as it was against Diallo. Both these guys love to attack, love coming to the net. This will be like a hard court game on clay, really. Scheduling will be important there. If it's a match on a sort of smallish outside court, or you know, in the sun, you would certainly favour the set 1 overs there. It's another one where you think fatigue will eventually get to the more inexperienced player in Quinn, who's obviously had to come through qualies as well. So yeah, an interesting set of matches for Saturday.
Yeah, we just got the one official play. Cam Norrie is our official play, but that's a little bit of a breakdown of all the matches for tomorrow out with Bet Rivers on the 3rd round of the French Open. Myself and Sean will be back on Sunday at some sides giving you a latest rundown. Before then, the Betting Weekly Champions League betcast, our live betcast for the Champions League final tomorrow in Munich between Inter Milan and Paris Saint-Germain will be covered by Steve Wiss, Dan Roebuck and Jack Wright. That is 2:30 p.m. Eastern Time, 7:30 in the UK, live on our YouTube channel. Watch along and give us all the best in-play bets with Bet Rivers, the live betcast on the Champions League final, the biggest match in world soccer. Sean, thank you very much for joining us. If you want to follow me and the team at Because We Win across all our socials. But that's been it for this week. It's been a great week in terms of views, a great week in terms of numbers. Keep subscribing, keep hitting that like button. Like I say, let us know. Content is coming thick and fast. We're back again on Sunday, breaking down what will probably be the last 16 matches in the men's singles in the French Open. That's it for today. That's it for the week. Have a good week and take care.